Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for part 3 of the Monday Q&A, so let's get to that first question. Can drug-free lifters benefit from intra-workout carb drinks like vitargo, cyclic, dextrins, or does it mainly benefit insulin users? I don't even think this shit benefits insulin users, to be honest. There's cheaper sources of carbs. You could just go get some straight glucose powder, or you could drink a damn Dr. Pepper. All of these carb drinks are marketing hype. They're hyped up. As a lifter, your glycogen stores, if you ate a lot of carbs before bed, which if you're a serious lifter, you should have been eating a lot of carbs before bed. And if you're cutting, the last thing you want is to eat a bunch of sugary carbs because you're going to be on reduced calories, you're going to have appetite issues, so these sort of stuff is out the window anyways. So I'm assuming we're talking about people who are trying to make gains. You should have eaten a lot of carbs before bed anyways. Your glycogen stores are going to be completely full, in which case you're going to have enough intramuscular glycogen to finish your workouts. And if you're a drug-free lifter, you're not in there beating on the iron for 2 or 3 hours straight. There's no way you're depleting your glycogen stores massively enough that you're going to need an intra-workout carb drink. So to me, the whole thing seems really silly, particularly for the drug-free guys. All right, next question. Hey, Juggernaut Fitness TV, what is your response to some of the people saying that lifting heavy weights are just for their egos? Well, I would respond to that and say that if we're talking purely for their egos, then all weightlifting is for your ego. People are either lifting to get better at a sport, to compete in something and get stronger, which is extremely ego-driven, just like any other training is. If you run for the purpose of running competitively, that is very ego-driven. If you're doing it to look better, if you're training to look better, that is very much an ego thing. I'll even say that if you are training so that you can live longer, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but that is ego. It means that you have more right than something else or someone else out there to something, whether it's the air that you're breathing or the food that you're eating. That you have a right to live is ego. Now, if they mean in the terms of ego lifting, meaning that you are lifting heavy weights stupidly and purely for the purpose of showing off, or lifting a heavier weight for your own ego, but not for the purpose of a training goal, then yeah, I agree that is ego lifting and it's stupid. An example of ego lifting would be that the heaviest weight that you can squat is 500 pounds with good form, and so that you try to, instead you try to squat 510 pounds or 515 pounds, and it turns pretty much into a good morning, and your form is all over the place and it looks like shit, the bar path is off, but you manage to squeeze it up, or you hitching on your deadlift so that you can lock out a weight that you can't truly lift. These things aren't making you bigger, they aren't making you stronger. But if you can do 3 reps with 500 pounds with perfect form and good bar speed, then it's not ego lifting, it is correct strength training. So it really depends on what they're defining it as. But if they're talking about the ego lifting for the latter, people just using shitty form to just sling a weight up, then I agree, it's purely for ego. It's not helping them either get bigger or stronger particularly well. All right, next question. Can depression mimic an overtaxed central nervous system, feeling drained or out of it? This can get tricky because an overtaxed central nervous system, or chronic overreaching, which we call overtraining, can cause depression. But by that same token, you are right. Depression itself can mimic some of these signs also. So with limited information, it's hard to call. It could actually be either direction imitating the other. If you think it's the chronic overreaching, go get your blood pressure and your resting heart rate tested. Start checking for muscle cramps. If you're overtraining, you'll start getting really intense muscle cramps while your lifts will start going down. You'll be cramping in bed when you're trying to sleep at night pretty regularly. Your rested heart rate will be elevated. Your blood pressure will be elevated above what's normal for you. So there'll be other medical symptoms. So if these things aren't present, it could very well be the fact that you're depressed, and your depression itself is negatively affecting your performance in training, in which case you probably should go get some help for that. Go talk to a counselor. Doesn't necessarily mean that you need therapy, but you probably, if the depression is bad enough that it's affecting something in your life that you love, like your training that's important to you, I think that's the point to where you should at least talk to a counselor about it and see what they think. Alright guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.